This is a Little Empire podcast. Visit us at littleempirepodcast.com and on Twitter at Little Empire Pod.
This movie's still fine. One of them dies, that guy's squirrel. One of them's a hottie, his name is Jay. One of them looks like Johnny Depp, and his name is Johnny Depp.
Action! Welcome to the worst idea of all time, episode 45, with myself, Tim Bat.
And myself, Guy Montgomery, with his microphone and tail between his legs.
Guy, explain the current situation as it stands.
Look, it's a minor issue. It's very infuriating, actually. I'm currently staying in a hotel room in Geraldton, West Australia. That is not an issue at all. I'm having a great time doing that. Tim and I just recorded 30 minutes of red hot gold, I would say. Gold often doesn't run red hot, but it did in this instance.
It's pretty good stuff.
And Tim, unbeknownst to me, had created a pretty detailed set of drinking rules for the film We Are Your Friends.
Yeah.
You've been over there having a party, have you, my boy?
I've done that all on my lonesome, Guy Montgomery. I didn't need no man to have a good time with. Hey, but let me ask you a question. Are we 100% sure you're recording this time? Because I still haven't set it up to record your, telephone conversation.
Oh, yeah. I'm recording loud and clear. I'm not going to make the same mistake I did just prior.
You know the old saying,
pretty much...
once bitten, twice shy, 3 times, I'm a lady. Here were the drinking rules as I wrote them down, folks. And you got to bear in mind that I'm coming to you live after 5 beers and a little bit of some other stuff. And the way that this works is I basically it came in 5th gear, you know what I mean? Which is not generally how you start a race. You start on 1st gear. But I started on the 5th gear. Started very hot and heavy. And then progressively got less so as I kind of lost my way midway through. But here are the rules as I will report them to you. Okay.
Just before you read them, we didn't quite finish relaying what happened to the previous recording of them, which was I had to return a phone charging cord to my next door neighbour and very funny comic, Danielle Walker. And I ran next door with it. I took out my card key to make sure that I could get back into my room, and the card key cut the power, and the power cut the recording, and I've cast us asunder. But Tim's enthusiasm and nuanced drinking rules are sure to carry us through to steady waters.
It's all on Timbo's shoulders, and I'm willing to accept the responsibility, Guy Montgomery. Here it comes. The first rule, and this is an important rule, is every time anyone says the following words, take a drink of your drink. And I can't stress this enough, you don't have to drink. But if you're going to drink, just take a drink of your drink. Don't drink the whole drink until I tell you to drink the whole drink. Just take whatever you think is appropriate from your drink. It's a beer. That's what I used this week. This should serve as a guide for you, okay? If anyone says the word Cole or the name Cole, you drink. If anyone says Ollie, you drink. If anyone says Mason, you drink. If anyone says Squirrel, you know it's coming, you drink. If anyone says sushi, drink. If anyone says my boy, you drink again. Okay? So, the count, because I did a bit of a count up on how many times these names were actually said out loud before I stopped paying attention and I kind of gave up on it. Here are the stats. Cole is said 9 times. Ollie is said 3 times. Mason, who knows? I haven't got a number next to that, so it's impossible to tell. Squirrel, 4, maybe more. Fuck, I don't know.
Those tallies all sound horrifically inaccurate.
Sushi, 9 times. My boy, twice. Oh boy. Here's how the rest of it goes. When you hear the words, it's going to be a big night. You take a drink, okay? That's coming real early in the film. I want to get you ready. I want to get you a whistle wet. When you are in the club, when you're out of the club, but you hear Clubman promise that he will give Jarhead head, I want you to celebrate by having a beer. A little beer, just a sip of beer, not a whole beer, just beer.
I said this previously and I'll say it again, Tim. I also think it's imperative that we
Guy,
pour
no
some
one
out.
knows what happened before because it didn't happen on the record. So just And also, I can't remember whatever you said. So just present it like it's new information because it is to all of us involved in this.
Okay, I didn't realize I could treat you as a totally blank page.
I'm an audience surrogate at all costs.
For Jarhead. Not Jarhead, sorry, Clubman, because he once knew a life on the outside and is now cursed to spend the rest of his days inside of the club. And we've got to pour some out for his memory of his family, the joys of outside living, fresh air, parks, dogs, swimming in the water, all that good stuff.
Clubman, he's having a good time 'cause he's in the club, but he's having a good time 'cause he boo. It's Clubman.
Clubman.
Yeah. It's a leather jacket in the summertime. It's too hot for that kind of fashion in this kind of season. So do you know what I recommend? Cool off with a little bit of beer. A little beer of beer. Next up, James Reed is playing. We're in the club all of a sudden. Clubman's here, but the most important bit is James Reed is playing. And do you know how I like to celebrate James Reed playing at a fucking live DJ set where I am? You finish the beer. Finish the beer. Everybody.
You finish your whole beer.
Whatever the beer is, finish it.
Is that a free 2 hands for party time dancing, including but not limited to removing and swinging your jacket around and around?
Fucking A. If you're by yourself, I recommend pull your pants down and whatever genitals you got, swing it all around. Just for your own self-benefit, you know? Next up, these are my friends. Celebrate with some beer. Now, I don't know what this note means. What's that?
I'm sorry to hold your momentum there, but I just can't get over the idea that, to swing a vagina around is virtually impossible.
Oh, yeah. Clearly, my man hasn't seen enough vaginas. It's not impossible.
In the same way you can de-trow and swing your penis around, you can swing a vagina around?
Not in the exact same way, but, you know, you use your imagination, you get out there, you swing it around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. As you were, continue, sorry.
So these are my friends. Celebrate with some beer. And honestly, I do not recall what you said last time. Was this? Am I writing this down because that's the song, or does someone say these are my friends? Oh, maybe. Hold up. Where are we?
It happens concurrently, I believe, Tim. It happens in the same instance. So. He says, and these are my friends while the chorus or while the drum kick from "We Are Your Friends."
You're fucking right. You're fucking right, man. Do you know what I'd never accuse you of, Guy? Being wrong. Except right now.
We're a good team. We're a good team, Tim, and you're a good little boy. I want to scratch you under the chin. I know you'd like that right now.
I fucking love it, bro. I'd pay some good, honest, hard, cold cash for that. This is going to be the best night of your life. That is a quote that is said by...
The best. It's by several everyone. It's shared.
It's a montage.
It's shared responsibility.
It's a montage line. This is going to be the best night. The best night. The best night. The best night of your life. Do you know how I celebrate that? Have a little beer of beer. Have a bit of beer. Cole is smoking. It's the first time we've seen it happen in this movie, and it's a bit jarring in 2017 to see central characters on a screen production smoking. You know how I like to recognize that fact? Have a beer. Have a little bit of beer. Have a beer of beer.
Cool down your throat. It's probably hot from all that smoke.
Hard out. Because we're very empathetic viewers and we feel what Cole feels. They're toasting. Right. They're toasting Skrill. So you toast Skrill. So here's to Skrill. So let's beer a beer. And that point happens when we're all together. And it's just before Skrill says, "This is my favorite part." It's just before that. It's Jarhead who says it. He says, "Here's to Skrill." And they all drink. They've probably cheersed everybody, to be honest. It seems like it's one of those moments, but we cut in as an audience to get a cheers to Skrill. And I, as someone who's going to be killed in moments from now, I'd like to cheers him as well. You know what I'm saying?
Certainly.
This man has never left the club. We are meeting Clubman for the first time. Drink for him. You know what I'm saying? Clubman is a tragedy. He is a Greek tragedy. He is a man so filled with vigor and vim and enthusiasm for the profession that he has because he's not been exposed to the outside world. And just my heart bleeds for Clubman. So we're seeing him for the first time. We've heard him on the phone before. Guys explain why he's such a sad man.
I've said it before and I'll say it again to him. It's slightly more heartbreaking than you imagine. He does know the pleasures of the outside world. They have been taken from him and he will never have them again. And therefore we must pour some out.
Oh, pour it out again. Pour it out for Clubman. Fucking
pour
Clubman
out a
might
whole bottle. And I think the more expensive thing you pour it onto, the better. I think.
The more expensive thing you pour it onto, so like find a shag pile rug.
Well, I don't think you're allowed to look outside of the room you're in, but certainly within the room you're in, find the most valuable item, either through sentimental value or genuine value, and pour your drink out on top of it.
So hypothetically, does it count as pouring your drink out if you are in a situation where you're watching the movie in full view of your neighbours who have very expensive houses which you're very confident they own? If you throw your beer through a window of theirs, is that kind of facilitating what you're laying down? There's a lot of property damage. A minimum of like $300-400. It's a weird shaped window.
Legally like a grey area to me, Tim. I would try and limit your pouring out of your drink to within the room. I think throwing and pouring are two entirely different, sensations.
You're boring, guy. That's your problem, man. I've always said this about you. Boring. Push
when you watch the Olympics, Tim, they don't pour the javelin, in the track and field segment, do they? They
maybe they should
throw it.
Maybe they should. That's what I'm saying. You, as long as you've known me, you've known that I have been an advocate of pouring the javelin. It's always been very close to my heart, and I've always been a very passionate proponent of that. Let's keep the Olympics going. I'm not one of these crazy people who's advocating for cancelling the Olympics. What I'm simply saying is let's pour the javelin. To
this day, I'll say the same thing that I and the Olympics committee have said to you since .1, Tim. How? You've never described to us with words or diagrams how you pour a javelin. You just keep saying, let us pour the javelins.
So Somali's appeared. It's the first time we've seen her. Let's toast Somali. Have a beer of beer. Somali's here. It's a cute little poem.
That's great.
The next one is, Zuccoli asks if James smokes, okay? If, in your version of the movie, if in the watch that you undertake, he says yes, smoke him if you got him. That's a new rule. Smoke him
only then.
if you got him. If Zuccoli asks James to smoke and James says yes, smoke him if you got him.
And here's a little tip from the top, everybody. As someone who is vaguely familiar with the inner workings and machinations of We Are Your Friends, this scene, this occurrence, it's more likely than not to crop up week in, week out.
True words have never been spoken, Guy Montgomery. From my experience, I can back up what he's saying.
Very, very occasionally will they leave out that scene. And I'll tell you what, it's very satisfying if you catch him napping. Only if you're playing the drinking game, it won't be, because even if you have him, you will not yet be allowed to smoke him.
You got to keep your focus. James Reed offers Zuccoli a drink. If Zuccoli takes the drink, drink your drink. Drink our drink. Drink some beer. Or whatever. Zuccoli needs a lift. Don't worry, though. Somali's driving, so that means you can finish the beer you're on, which if you're me, was either beer number 2 or beer number 3. I can't remember at this point in time. But it's
I like that.
Reasonably early in the film. If you find out that in your viewing of the film, if you find out in your particular watch that Captain Sidestream is the man who invented Instagram, I say celebrate that revelation with a touch of whatever you got. A little beer of beer. That's what I reckon.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm about to do a sneeze, but it turned into a little cough. I'm going to do it. No, I'm not. Am I? Who's to say? I agree, Tim.
Isn't the human body just a confusing thing?
It's a real mess. There's a real mess of stuff happening down there.
There truly is, isn't there? Could we streamline it, perhaps, do you think? Like, how you you sneeze, and that's to get rid of, I don't know, I guess, bad stuff that's coming in your nose and your body detects it, and it's like, whoa, we don't want any of this dust and, bacteria and whatnot. Sneezes it out. Chuck it in a poo. You know what I mean? We've already got an exit strategy for stuff we don't want.
Dude, I've been saying it for years. Make it one hole.
Hashtag send it south.
Hashtag make it one hole. I don't understand why
I'm behind
all
that
these
campaign.
superfluous holes.
How many holes are we rocking? We got nostrils, 1, 2, ears, 1, 2, so we're up to 4. We've got a mouth, that's 5. We've got an anus, 6. We've got a urethra, 7. We got a
Belly button. Obviously, everyone's belly
button's about a half. So
my belly button goes all the way through.
Jesus, for a male, you've got between 7.5 or 8 if you're Guy Montgomery holes. Like, do we need them all? I don't think so. Let's figure out a way to make whatever the ear's doing, we'll chuck that into the nose function. And whatever the nose is doing with expulsion, we'll let the anus do that. So maybe we turn two ears into the nose, 2 nostrils into one, okay? Hear me out. The other superfluous nostril activity is now happening through the anus. So we've got 1 nostril, that's 1 hole. We've got a mouth, that's essential, it seems to me. We need that for eating, that's 2. We got an anus, that's 3. And if you're Guy Montgomery, you need a whole hole for your belly button. But most dudes, there's 3.5 holes. Oh, and your urethra.
You've still got your urethra.
Okay, I always forget that one. 4.5 to 5 holes max if you're a dude, surely.
What I'd love to hear, Tim, you can keep packing them down. Let's get it down to hashtag make it 1 hole.
Make it 1 hole just seems tremendously difficult because you're wanting to pick up a bit of hearing with your ears and a bit of smelling with your nose, and to put that all through the same hole that you're shitting out of just seems, sometimes in this life you can get too efficient, and I feel like that might be about our limit of where we get to with that.
Wow. We folks over here at Make It 1 Hole couldn't disagree more, Tim, but that's your opinion and you're entitled to it.
Guy, I want to put the reins into your hands. How would you recommend that Make It 1 Hole undertakes its single orifice strategy?
You got us down to 4.5 to 5 holes, okay? First thing you're going to need to do, fill in your belly button. That is doing nothing for nobody. Just fill it in. Get some concrete, whatever's lying around. Whoa. Silt, if you have any. Glue's fine. Hair, loose hair, sure. Fill that hole, okay?
Okay.
We're now down to 4 holes. Your urethra, that's just doing I'll tell you where that fluid and that liquid could be used. Out the back, okay? So push that in, cover that up with some plaster, Sally's no more gaps or whatever. So you smooth out the front, you pushed all the wee so it starts coming out the back.
Can I chuck one thing at you though? Where does your ejaculate come out in this? In
Same
your
spot,
proposal?
dude. You've completely rewired the human body. Your bone is happening inside your body now, poking towards your butthole.
Whoa,
your ejaculate comes out your butthole.
Oh my god. Okay. Far out. That's how we impregnate women now?
If reproduction is, part of what you're going for, the 1 hole movement might not be for you.
In biology, if reproduction's what I'm going for, yeah, sometimes those streams cross. Yeah, every now and then.
Okay, well, all I'm telling you is that, read the fine print before you sign the forms. The mouth? Who needs a mouth? Look at this beautiful, expressive...
So I'll stop you there for a hot minute. I mean, a couple of things come to mind, and the first 2 are talking and eating, so...
Oh, man. You've got so much good stuff happening down there now. You've built such an interesting and beautiful hole. Yeah. Why not just relocate the mouth? Yeah. Take your lips off, sure. Put your esophagus in there. Your esophagus will actually make quite a nice coat for a penis.
Oh, boy. This is getting very human centipede all of a sudden.
It's too grisly.
Very graphic. Highly biological. Intensely not where I thought I'd be at tonight. But you know what? I'm glad I came. You know what? I'm not disappointed I'm here. Man. Hey, actually, guys, should I continue with the drinking rules?
Yeah, that sounds great, man.
Somali is drinking club soda. You don't need to drink club soda, though, because you're a big boy. So have a big boy drink, have a little beer of beer. So by this point, we're in the party, obviously, Guy.
Amazing.
We're at James Reed's party, and in light of that, did you just find out that dubstep is 70 beats per minute and house music sucks massively? Do you know how
There's an odds-on chance you will have.
What's that?
There's an odds-on chance you will have discovered that at the house party. Zaccoli is doing everything but bloody printing out flyers and distributing them, telling him exactly that.
That would be very funny if you got some merch printed out that just says, dubstep is 70 BPM, house sucks. Celebrate that revelation with a drink, everybody. That's what I like to do when I find stuff out about We Are Your Friends. I just like to celebrate a beer. Next up on the agenda, Zuccoli and Squirrel are having a smoke. So guess what, everybody? Smoke them if you got them. If you got them, get rid of them. And do that by smoking them.
That's right. Don't throw them away. That's not what Tim's trying to encourage.
It's never been my plan. It's never been my intention to throw them away. If you got them, consume them. It's the Zuccoli dance, everybody. Everybody just wave your hands. And if you look like a bit of a chicken and everybody's fucking in a bed behind you, then you're doing the Zuccoli dance definitely correctly, because I saw it again this week. And I tell you what, Guy, it never goes away. That weird viewpoint of seeing two people fucking in bed behind Zuccoli slow motion chicken dancing, that is weird every week. I like to celebrate that with a bit of beer, personally.
Why wouldn't you? Good stuff.
Next up, we made it to the festival, everybody. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, so I recommend you smoke them if you got them, because we are here to deal drugs. I've made myself one of the boys.
Undoubtedly. You got to burn the evidence. If you got coppers knocking on your door, you know, the best way to shake them off your tail, smoke them if you got them.
I heard a delightful story. When I first, I used to work in for a radio station, Guy. You might know, I actually worked for a few radio stations back in the day. Not
All
that
of
long
this
ago.
is new to me.
And my first job, my first full-time professional job when I worked in radio was for a station that played, it's what's usually referred to as golden oldies music, which is like real good fucking rock music from the 60s and 70s. And the guy that I worked for, a man named Kevin Black, who tragically has since passed away, much before his prime, I got to work with him, and it was a real delight, because that dude was a real legend of New Zealand broadcasting. And he told me a delightful story one morning when we were working on his show. I was his producer for a short time, about Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones. Ever heard of them? Apparently this is true. Apparently this is true. One time, so Mick Jagger was in his hotel room, and someone ran up and banged on the door, tour manager, whatever, I can't remember the finer details, and said, "Mick, the police are here, the police are here." And Mick Jagger flushed all his drugs down the toilet. And what the person was actually trying to communicate is that Sting and the police were staying on the same floor of the hotel with them. And like, did he want to kind of come and hang out? Always tickled me, that little anecdote of rock and roll history.
It would. You'd be devastated if all you want to do is take a bunch of drugs with Sting and the police.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a bloody miscommunication. That's very caperish.
101, right? That is a classic French farce, if ever I've heard one. So anyway, we're in the hotel. Finish that beer. That's the instruction that I've written there. And that's the beautiful moment when our two star-crossed lovers, Zuccoli and Somali, are hand in hand running through the gorgeous city of love that is Las Vegas, Nevada. Everyone knows it's the most romantic town in the world. And they get into their big, garish, gold-plated hotel. Celebrate that young love by finishing whatever beer you're up to. At that point, for me, 4, I think. 3 or 4. And then I've only got 2 notes left because, as I mentioned before, I started to taper off and lose a bit of energy by the end. The first one, or the second to last one, rather, the penultimate instruction is just party time, finish your beer. I guess that's when the boys move into their brand new abode, you know? Soundproof the walls.
Well, yeah, I'd say that's right, Tim. And so but before that, you've also got several names being used. They go for a trip to the sushi joint. When it gets depressing in there, they go and get sushi before then. So you're going to be having little nips of beer through there. So and that's the beauty of the subtlety and the detail of the game you've built here, Tim, is that it really caters to everyone's needs the whole way through.
I was going for that, and I'm glad that you saw that. I appreciate you appreciating
I'm glad
me.
you did it. I'm glad you did it.
The last note that I have on my thing before I just pegged out entirely is Squirrel has died. Deal with it by smoking a little bit of drugs. And again, can't stress this enough. If it's PCP, that's a rose garden. That's not for you to consume. That's for the earth. That's for the soil.
Well, You have brought that up to me, Tim, but certainly no one listening at this point will know exactly what you're talking about.
And they never will. I'm just saying PCP's main use, for my money, is as a rose garden accelerant and nothing else. It's not for human consumption. It's not what it's there
absolutely
for.
not. Do you know it's specifically good for rose gardens, or are you just sort of providing anything which
Listen,
isn't taking it?
I'm not a botanist per se, so I am going by gut here, but that's my assumption. Do you have a shining light, guy? Because that's all my drinking rules done.
Mate,
and didn't
I
he
had it
do
all.
well? Didn't he do well?
Yeah, he did really well. My shining light, if I may, was probably at the Looking Pool party, in the midst of Zaccoli distributing his flyers explaining why certain types of music play out at certain times and house music stinks. He's talking about transitioning the speed of the music up, and there's like a graphic that comes up on screen which says 125 and it changes to 126 beats per minute. Do you know what I'm talking about, Tim?
I know exactly what you're talking about because he's trying to get it up to that magic number.
In that moment, we see a sort of medium close-up of a woman's hips and legs dancing, and she's wearing sort of greeny, maybe turquoisey shorts, denim cutoffs. And poking out of the left leg is like the entire business end of a jeans pocket.
Yes, I actually know exactly what you're talking about. Yes. They're like Daisy Dukes that she's wearing, right?
Yeah. But they're showing the pocket underneath the short.
Yeah.
And bold choice.
That's a thing.
One that I creatively and sartorially disagree with, but good on them for making some brave decisions.
That's not that brave. That's fully a thing. That is a thing in fashion. I've seen
Pockets
it.
showing.
Hey?
No, you don't want to show your pockets.
No,
you do not want to be
mate,
seen with your pockets out.
Guy Montgomery, we got to go to the club more often because that is so very much a thing. This is an established norm of 2017. People are out there with their pockets penetrating the line of flesh that we can see. It's going,
Put them
it's
back
going
in,
down.
is what I say. Put them back in because no one wants to see that. No one needs to see your pockets.
Oh,
I trust
sound like
you've got
your
them. You don't need to
father.
prove it.
You sound like Stephen, Guy. You're growing into your dad.
I'm not going into my dad. Look, pockets are a private business. I can't, I can't stand having stuff in my pockets. When I was a kid, I never had any cool stuff because I didn't want to put it in my pockets.
Really? What about cool rocks and stones and things?
Man,
like a nice shell.
I'd have to borrow my friends' rocks and stones because I wouldn't carry them around in my pockets.
Oh, bloody. You had a deprived childhood and it's led on to a very conservative adulthood where you won't accept pockets falling out of Daisy Dukes, you know? It's a problem.
Look, it's it's minor, but for me the fact that they did it at all, that they explored the seedy underbelly of pockets, for me was the shining light this week.
Oh,
what about
brilliant.
you, Tim?
So you like that they dipped their oar into that lake of iniquity. Dang it.
Den of inequity.
Denim equity.
Like I said, Tim, it was brave. It's one that I creatively and sartorially disagree with, but I'm glad they went there.
Guy, my shining light's really going to blow you away this week, okay? Are you ready for it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know how there's 4 fuck boys?
Yeah.
There's 5. There's a 5th Beatle, bro.
No, not at all.
When we are at the introductory speech, the pep talk delivered by Paige to the boys, where they first get into
That's
Gold Star
20 minutes.
Realty Solutions, dick full of diamonds,
23
mouthful of
minutes into
concrete.
the film.
Jesus, all right, yeah. When we're there, okay, neither of us have ever picked this up before. In addition to our 4 fuck boys who are receiving that speech, there's a 5th dude. And we've never seen him before. He is on the left bit of the screen, and he's sitting with the guys, and he's the only other person receiving that speech in addition to the fuck boys. There is 5 guys there. 4 of them we know, 1 of them we've not met before.
Oh my goodness.
And I, from there on in, watching the rest of the film, I like to think that same dude is there the entire time, just a tiny little bit out of frame.
Undoubtedly that's almost exactly what would happen. I mean, of course it is, because he's in that awkward situation where he hasn't quite passed through to the social group yet, but he hasn't been culled or expelled. He doesn't have a lot else going for him. He's just moved to Los Angeles. So, of course, you're going to hang around on the fringes of what seem like a group of fun-loving young guys.
Grab hold. If you find a lion who's out of control, grab onto his mane and ride him. Ride him to freedom. Social freedom. That's what that guy's done. This metaphor didn't work as well as I thought it would, but I gave it a God's honest try.
No, you did, and that's a great observation. It's certainly another interesting wrinkle as we sort of work towards wrapping this thing up. Another character whose life may go on, maybe him and Squirrel in the sequel become friends. We know Squirrel survives.
Do we?
Yeah. He speaks at the end of the film. He says the moment before it starts, which is a classic teaser move from the movie people to say Squirrel, the revenge of Squirrel.
The guy's name is Doug, Guy. This is important to me.
Rise of the Squirrel with Doug.
The fifth Beatle is Doug. Doug and Squirrel fighting the world together.
Doug and Squirrel, at it again. Oh, man, I got to say, I love these little details. I'm very glad that you saw that. I can't wait to look out for it next week.
Let me tell you something else about Doug, Guy. He's one of 3 children. He's a middle child. He was brought up in a Baptist upbringing, but not too hard out, which is, unusual. But his father's father was a Baptist minister. His father was the youngest of 5 children, didn't quite buy into it all. So he sort of got the ceremonies and the rituals of baptism, but not quite living with it in his heart. His mother is, and you'll love this, a scientist, and this is the kind of scientist she is. She's an anthropologist. She studies, on a macro scale, human development. Running around, born in Africa, spreading to the other continents. That's what I'm talking about. That's what she studies. And this kid is the product of a very tepidly warm Baptist and a woman of science. And Doug, he's fallen on hard times because he got involved in a very big way in the dot-com boom. Not himself, he's a bit of a moron, but his friends around him, he befriended a lot of people who were also quite socially awkward, found it hard to make friends. And those people...
insert just a quick jolt of backstory into why Doug struggled so much in social situations, Tim.
Yeah.
That would obviously because his older brother, who he really respected and looked up to growing up and aspired to be like, they'd play together... night after night, they'd throw a ball back and forth. They'd brainstorm harebrained schemes to make a quick buck over the summer holidays. And after his first year of junior high, after he'd sort of developed a bit of a crack in the throat and grown a pubic hair, he was kidnapped and has since been held hostage inside of a club.
Wow.
Whereby he's not allowed to be released until discovered by a family member.
Yeah. Fuck. It's a real tragedy, to be honest. It's sad. Breaks my heart. Really does. So there's Doug, just living his life, trying to move on with things after his brother. The weird thing about Doug's brother is that his birth name is Clubman, and it never made sense until a really formative event happened in his life where he got kidnapped. And then it suddenly makes perfect sense. But up until then, it's like we all grow into our names,
Don't we? That's beautiful, Tim.
Anyway, that dude, he's my shining light. Doug. God bless Doug.
Wow. What a journey he's on.
He's truly... he's on a trajectory of mediocrity, and I'm very keen to follow it for the coming weeks.
Absolutely. To quote Ted Danson in the ever-popular romantic comedy acting opposite Julianne Moore, When Harry Met Seattle, I'll have what he's having.
Nailed it. God damn, did you nail all of that. So, Guy, it might be time for a little bit of a musical interlude if you're ready for it.
Oh, certainly. Strap in, Tim. I'm excited.
5, 6, 7, 8. Getting sentimental with James Reed.
Beautiful stuff.
Do you know what I'd love? I'd love to find my harmonica wherever it is. I bought a harmonica years ago, and I know it's in this room somewhere. I can't play it, but I can breathe into it, and it makes a sound.
Do you by chance have a set of bongos in there as well, Tim?
You know I do.
Do you have any weed smoking paraphernalia?
I can neither confirm nor deny, except to say that I do.
Are you an absolute stone cold hit at all the summer Kiwi barbecues you attend?
I attend none of them, eh? That's the funny thing about me. Summertime, get me in the office. You know, that's my prime working season. That's when I like to get solar powered up for about half an hour in the morning, then get into an office and just lay into some spreadsheets.
You get solar powered up?
That's my way.
How so?
I run on photosynthesis.
Pardon?
Most human beings metabolize food, complex carbohydrates, whatnot, into sugar. Not how I operate. I get a little bit of sugar from the environment, I get a lot of water, and then I get sunlight. And much like Superman, I am powered by Earth's yellow sun. That is how I construct my energy and go about my business.
I'm so sorry. You're thinking all days and weeks, months, years of hanging out together, I would have cottoned on to this quite significant detail. Or do you hide it from people?
It's my cross to bear. That's how I look at it. So I don't need to involve other people in it. I'm not a martyr. But the real thing we're here to discuss...
Hey, Tim.
Yeah?
You've always got someone to talk to.
Thank you, Guy. The thing is, James Reed from the Feelers, a very good New Zealand band, has handed a box with a MacBook Pro size something in it to Zaccoli, the film's hero.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, it's a really, really, really big harmonica for Zaccoli. And the reason why it's a self-serving gift is that James Reed from the Feelers has always known that in his 4-piece New Zealand top 40 rock band, there's always been one piece of instrumentation lacking. Has he got drums? Yes. Has he got lead guitar? Yes. Has he got bass guitar? Yes. Has he got vocals? You better believe it. But you know what he's missing? A fucking mouth organ. So what he's done is he's overshot it, and he's constructed a mouth organ 4 times the normal length of any harmonica you've seen in your life. And it covers a far greater, range of notes, you know, than a normal harmonica.
And the song that he wants Zaccoli to learn and play for him at Summerfest this coming summer sounds a little something like this. You get that, Tim?
Loud and clear, bro. Loud and fucking clear. Oh, boy. Oh, Lord. Yes, absolutely. It's Jurassic Park, but not as you know it. That's the name of that track. Fantastic. Oh boy.
There
if someone could, I know this sounds silly, but if someone could hit that note perfect, like if someone could replicate what you just played into the microphone, if someone could hit that at a party with a mouth organ, I'd be more impressed than hearing like a sterling note perfect rendition of Jurassic Park by John Williams, the legend himself.
I couldn't agree more. Hey Tim, I gotta get ready. I gotta go and perform stand-up comedy to the people of Geraldton, West Australia.
Yes, you do, you dirty dog. And you want to know why we're under the pump? Because you fucked up, Guy Montgomery, and it's okay because I've fucked up many times in the past. And it was about time that you dropped the ball, to be honest with you.
I did drop the ball. I was heartbroken, but this has been a lifting conversation. I feel better for it. I hope you're well. We'll be speaking together soon, I'm sure.
I've got a chest infection, and I'm feeling nervous about an upcoming project, but otherwise I'm fine.
Yeah, you got a lot. You got a lot on at the moment, Tim.
Not as much as I had previously, though, so it's all right. This comparatively,
Tim's going to be a big star. Everybody,
going to be a big star. You watch me. I feel like this podcast is going to sink whatever opportunity I have in the future, and I love that about this podcast. Never get too big for your boots, Tim, because you've always got the worst idea of all time episodes to bring you back to ground. You are like Icarus.
I see.
Never fly too close to the sun, for you will burn and fall into the ocean.
Well, on that uplifting note, I bid you adieu.
Follow Guy Montgomery online, everybody, and go and see his shows. And also, I exist. Bye.
This movie's still fine. Zoe, pasta. One of them dies, that goes screw. One of them's a hottie, his name is Jay. One of them looks like Johnny Depp, and his name is Johnny Depp. Classic Maximum Joseph. You forget that films are supposed to have.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. If you're thirsty for another, why not try The Male Gaze?
The Wizard of Oz is a real, you could tell, movie
Yeah.
if your kid is really into it.
Well, that'd be where the phrase "Friends of Dorothy" comes from, or is that
Yes.
just because people with Judy Garland had lots of gay friends?
No, both, probably.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting. I mean, the movie's camp, but not kind of camp in the way that, like, Priscilla, the Queen of the Desert's camp.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just, I guess it's about that, like, sort of young girl lost in...
I think it's camp in almost the exact same way as Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
The Lollipop Guild is not camp.
All of the prominent roles are women in, like, iconic dresses.
It's just that in Priscilla, it's men as women in dresses.
They're both male.